Welcome to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert, and I'm here to tell you that imposter syndrome isn't a life sentence. It's just a dysfunctional way of thinking. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. Time to kick your inner imposter to the curb and create life-changing results for you and your clients. Let's get started. Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, and today's episode is me sloshing around in the bath with ideas that I get in the bathtub. I get some really good ideas when I'm in the tub, just like processing and relaxing and being disconnected from like my phone and TV and any of the outside noise. And this is just something that came to me and something that I really have been leaning into over the past year, especially around like forgiveness and realizing how much it has an impact on your beliefs and the way that you think. And around here, especially in the Worthy Woman method, we focus on forgiving ourselves and not putting shame on ourselves, because shame and guilt and those negative feelings don't create results. Empowerment creates results. Empowered thinking creates results. Confidence and inner trust creates inner freedom. More money creates all the things that you do want when it comes to your business, instead of making yourself feel bad about all the things that you could have changed or done differently. We move forward in the Worthy Woman method. We move forward in the Jillian Perrick coaching community. Speaking of the Worthy Woman method, when you're listening to this, it is open for enrollment. And I am so excited, because the Worthy Woman method is a lifetime access group coaching program focused on business mindset, identity, and growing your business. It is a next level container in which you will enter. It is a next level mindset container in which you become the worthy woman version of yourself over and over again in order to hit your business goals using thought work and identity work to change the way you think and feel about yourself, about business, about money, in order to create the results in your business that you want to create. I have worked with 5-figure entrepreneurs, 6-figure entrepreneurs. I work with 7-figure entrepreneurs, and the consistent thing that they all continuously work on are the thoughts that they're having about themselves and the thoughts about their business, and on the habits and practices that they do in order to stay consistent, stay congruent, and stay empowered in their thinking and their decision making. And it is the same all the way through. No matter how much money you're making, you are always going to hit up against limiting beliefs and things that you need to work through in order to hit that next level. And the Worthy Woman method is your method that you consistently use in order to up level and hit your goals every single time. And I have helped my clients thought work and identity work their way into multiple 5-figure launches, into 6-figure years, into creating a life and a business that they love and that they want to create for themselves. And it's a lifetime access group coaching program. Once you enter the doors, you're in for life. And there's weekly group coaching calls. There's a beautiful Slack community with your fellow worthy women. There's subconscious and somatic resources inside, in which we not only work on your cognitive thoughts, on the thoughts that you're thinking and changing them to be more empowered and helpful for you and your business, but we also focus on feeling safe, feeling good, feeling consistent, because your body and your brain want stability and safety, and that's what you get in the Worthy Woman method. It will blow your business up. It will blow your life up in the best way possible. And you can go to the link in my show notes to apply to enroll into the Worthy Woman method. Enjoy the episode. Again, link in my show notes for the Worthy Woman method, and I'll see you guys later. And the point of all this work is to forgive yourself, is to always forgive yourself. What if you forgave yourself for how you were in the past? I recently came to this realization that I was afraid to fully be myself, to fully do this work, to fully acknowledge myself, because I was afraid that when people saw the real me doesn't people please. The real me is who I am, but I was afraid that I was mean, and that I was judgmental, and that I was negative, and that I was competitive, and that I didn't want success for others, and that I was jealous. But what it all was
a trauma response to being excluded as a kid. It was a trauma response to having really intense anxiety throughout my entire life, and I felt unsafe. And when we feel unsafe, we do things that are not good. We judge, we hold things against people, we hold grudges, we get mad, we get angry, we get spiteful, we say things that we may not necessarily mean. And it was only ever when I was having a hard time that I would ever judge somebody or feel competitive. I remember when I was having a hard time and my friend was doing really well in business, and I caught myself having thoughts of, oh, I hope she doesn't sell anything. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And it was me looking at my shit and feeling inferior, feeling insecure, feeling like there was something wrong with me. Why couldn't I sell? It was this belief that if I was to fully embody being me, people wouldn't like me. I would be hated. I thought that the only reason why people liked me is because I was a people pleaser, because I did things for them. The only reason why people said that I'm a good coach or whatever is because they paid me, because I overstepped my boundaries, there's all of these reasons as to what I could tell myself. But instead, I looked at it, I cried, I acknowledged it, I journaled about it, and then I disproved it. I told better stories. I said I can have boundaries and people can still love me. The right people will accept my boundaries. When I don't people please, I actually show up way more powerfully in that moment. When I am compensated, I show up for my clients. When I feel safe with money and I cultivate that safety in myself, I don't feel the need to compete or judge when I feel safe. And this was something that was really important to me. And I didn't even realize that my inner child, that myself, needed this much love. It was almost like it was staring me in the face for so long. And I worked on money mindset, and I worked on imposter syndrome, and I worked on all of these things. But inner child work was hard, and learning to love myself was even fucking harder, despite all the things that I thought I shouldn't be allowed to forgive myself for. And it's really important for you to know that you can forgive yourself. You can fully forgive yourself. You can completely and fully forgive yourself. You can show yourself that compassion whenever you feel anxiety or fear or worry. You can identify where that would come from, why you are often anxious and worried, but you don't have to tell stories around it. But you can acknowledge it, and you can show yourself compassion. You can be like, oh, it's totally normal to feel this. Don't try and fix, just try to be. Just try to be with your emotion, be with the things that are coming up for you, and process them accordingly. And when you process them accordingly, then you can just let yourself feel the feeling, and it will pass. And anxiety is just fear of the future, and social anxiety is just fear of being judged, and fear around money is just fear of not having psychological or emotional or physical safety. It's not just those things, but those things are obviously extremely important, which is why you're listening to this now. At the end of the day, you have to forgive yourself. You have to like yourself first. Everything else comes secondary to you. You loving yourself and you liking yourself. And I think that there's also different levels of this. When I started with my business, I had to do a piece of this. I remember actually doing inner child work and stuff in other courses, but I never saw myself as important enough to do the inner work on myself. I was like, what's this gonna do for me? And then when I actually started doing it on myself, and it was painful and hard, and I also realized, I'm sure you guys are just loving that I'm in the bath right now. What I also realized was nothing has to be connected in terms of how I'm feeling at that moment and how much money I can make next month. I always thought if I have a bad week in March, I'm not going to be able to have an abundant April or an abundant end of March or an abundant week. I thought it was affecting me if I did this work, but the work allows you to process and show up in a more high vibe, energetic state. And so doing the work allows you to unplug those holes and let the shit come out of the drains. The shit, not the literal shit, let water come out of the drain, so you have channels and airways for abundance to flow through to you, and opportunities that you will see differently, and thoughts that you can choose to have differently. And something that also is coming through for me right now too is just the fact that like I learned how to set smaller goals, and setting smaller goals, setting weekly goals instead of monthly goals and annual goals. I mean, I still have those, but like setting weekly goals allowed me to break things down, allowed me to monitor my thoughts around that goal and think, okay, well, why do I think it's not possible for me this month or this week that I can achieve X, Y, Z? You know, it had me look at those thoughts and clean them up. And that's the process. And like I was saying, at every level, you learn how to accept yourself a little bit more. You accept another piece of yourself. You uncover another limiting belief. I'm constantly uncovering beliefs and releasing them and working through them. Some feel harder than others. A lot of the ones that feel really hard are ideals around me and ideals around like self-love and showing myself compassion and care, because I am the only person who can do that fully, in which I will believe it. You know, like, you need to do this work, you need to heal, so when people love you, you know that they do, you know that they're being genuine. You need to do this work because when people compliment you and when they say like, oh my god, this work is so amazing, your default thought is thank you. It's gratitude. It's not imposter syndrome. It's not like, oh my god, I'm a fraud, they're gonna realize I'm a fraud. That's why you do the work. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you. It matters what you think about you. And no amount of external validation is going to make you feel less like an imposter when somebody says, I think you're great. If you don't do any work on yourself, like, you won't hear it, you won't internalize it. If you want to internalize it, if you want to begin to really see what everybody else sees in you. I mean, I really honestly don't think it's possible to overcome every thought of imposter syndrome, because there's always a new level. There's always a new level, always new devil, always new amount of shit to deal with, or limiting beliefs, or something that comes up, including in the realm of imposter syndrome. I think there's different levels of imposter syndrome, no matter what level you're reaching, and it's very layered. But at the end of the day, if you are doing the work on yourself, you can accept things at a faster rate. You can absorb things at a faster rate. You can clean things up, clean your thoughts up, default to the better chosen thought easier and easier and easier. And there's no holier than thou moment where you're gonna wake up and go, I don't feel like a fraud anymore, I am perfect, I'm a perfect human being. Because like, what fun is that? Like, what fun is that to wake up and be perfect? Or like, your beautiful little brain wants to focus on a problem. Like, let's give it the most unimportant problem ever, because we want to be rooted in our worth. We want to feel good. We want to know that we're worthy and good enough. So, I mean, you're always going to want to improve something or work towards something, and whether that's a goal, or whether that's your looks, or whether that's in like the next trip you want to go on, or whether that's if you want to clean the bathroom this afternoon. Like, whatever your brain wants to fixate on, that's fine. But let's remember that we are whole and we are worthy, and that we can forgive ourselves, and that we love ourselves, and we can always come back to that. We can always come back to the fact that we love ourselves, and that we are good enough, and that we are allowed to exist. We're allowed to be here, and we're allowed to say what we want to say, and we're allowed to be full human beings that are also a work in progress. What did Sophia Bush say? She said, I'm allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. So you are perfect and whole as you are, and we're just adding to the wholeness, sister. We're just unclogging the drain and refilling it with empowerment, with love, with self-love, with inner child love, with compassion, with power, with confidence. We're just cleaning it up. We're just cleaning up our side of the street, as Amanda Francis says. We're cleaning up our side of the street. And that's the fun work. So thanks for coming to my bath time TED Talk. Love you guys. I hope you guys loved the sloshing around in the bathtub there. And I also want to remind you that the Worthy Woman Method is open for enrollment. Again, this is a lifetime access group coaching program focusing on business mindset, identity, and business growth for online entrepreneurs. It is the mindset coaching program that you want to be a part of. And once you're a part of it, you're a part of it for life. It is weekly group coaching, Slack access,
resources and materials for subconscious and somatic healing. It will completely change your life and change the way that you think about yourself and your business. And the link to apply is in my show notes. Enrollment is only open until the end of May, and then we are closing the doors for the next couple of months before enrollment opens up again. So jump in there. The investment price will be going up during the second enrollment. So get your butt in there now to become a lifetime member of the Worthy Woman Method. I love you guys and talk to you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Check out the show notes to get started on your free 3-day challenge to overcome your inner imposter. Once you're done listening today, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at YourCoachJill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.